maybe it's time to go. Maybe it is time. If you've been thinking about leaving the country for a while and just throwing your life at that and see what that's like, is that even possible in 2025 to do? Is living abroad, is being a digital nomad, being an expat, immigrating to another foreign place, is that even a realistic solution to escape the cost of living crisis that we're in America right now? Yes. Yes, it is. If you're in the position that you think you can go, especially if you don't have a spouse or children that you have to worry about, is it time to spread your wings and follow that dream? In 2025, I think so. Because the question is, why not? The question is, what holds you back? Is it people? Is it your job? A lot of people haven't been able to save up much money, but are you going to be able to save up much money in the future? Is this your only opportunity that you might have to go? I think that this is actually a good time to leave the United States. It's a good window right now to do so as far as our economy goes and the strength in the US dollar. Yes, the dollar is weakening, but so are other global currencies. So it's still definitely a major benefit that you will be able to leverage the US dollar or the pound or the euro in other parts of the world. So as far as financially goes, if you can get an income of even $2,000, $3,000 and move abroad to work, you can live a very good life. And I know this because this is something that I've been doing for years now. I've been back in the States for a few months now and experiencing what life is like here compared to the rest of the world. While being able to leverage the US dollar, I can say that it is a great life to live. Not only for the financial reasons, but for the fact that outside the United States, life is simply better. There's a kind of chaos and turmoil in the United States in our everyday lives that you don't have to deal with anymore. That kind of downward pressure on your shoulders releases when you get on that plane and land in another country. The stress that you carry in that situation is simply the stress that you choose to carry. And the economies in other cultures are much more forgiving than they are in the States. A lot of people will say that living abroad is becoming more expensive, and yes, that is true. Life is becoming expensive everywhere. And I would argue that, and I will say that living a life of relative financial safety in another country is far better than living a life in financial fear in the United States. Will the quality of life be as good depending on where you're at? Yes or no. Is the infrastructure as good in other countries as it is here? Yes and no. It depends where you go. Anyone who's been consuming my content for a while knows that I love Eastern Europe, and especially Greece. And while people from Greece will often argue with me that Greece is falling apart and their infrastructure is terrible, I can say that in comparison to America, it's not as bad as you think. I go to work up in Cleveland, and if we look at their metro system, I mean, it's dangerous, it's dirty, it's filled with homeless people. I juxtapose that, and I know that Turkey's a place in turmoil right now. And we do worry for our family that lives in Turkey. Even when we're talking about the infrastructure of urban transportation, even a place like Istanbul beats out most American major cities. The metro system in Istanbul is amazing. These long trains that you can see all the way to the end, it's kind of trippy. You sit on each side facing each other, and it's roomy, it's spacey, it's clean, it's fast, it's smooth. And then I take that and I compare that to the DC Metro, which is dirty and grimy and filled with criminals and always crowded and stuffy and anxious. And it's just not something you want to deal with on a daily basis. Even the Metro in Athens is better. If you go to a place like Bangkok, the rail system they have there is fantastic. Everyone uses it, It's clean, it's safe. And that's the thing we keep going back to, clean and safe. America is becoming a dirty country. And it's becoming a dirty country because people in America don't care anymore. And why would you? It's easy to take care of your own space, but in a general and kind of grand mood of national apathy, people don't care about things anymore. American infrastructure, American houses, architecture, it's all kind of being left to ruin as the people just kind of give up and don't care anymore. That kind of general apathy that you feel in America, it feels particularly American or Western at this point. And when you go to these other places, they don't have that. People care. People care about what's around them. People care about their lives. People care about their neighborhoods. People care about their neighbors. It's a good feeling to be in a place where people cared. And Americans don't really realize it because they're just in it all the time. But the constant negativity that this country holds, you turn on the TV, it's negativity, negativity, negativity. You turn on the movies and shows, it's negativity and negativity. There's no true core positive feeling in America anymore, unless you cut away from everything and just go into the woods. In order to escape negativity and apathy in America, you have to leave America. So is it a good time to live abroad? Yes, it's a good time to live abroad. You have every opportunity to do so. Are there jobs out there you can do? Yes, of course there are. Well, in the past, a lot of people leaned on software jobs, to live abroad, to be that digital nomad. Those times are kind of coming to an end for a lot of people as the availability of coding jobs and jobs in that industry are waning and becoming quite scarce. But of course, for the entrepreneur, which is not something that everyone can do, it's still a thing. Even working for the government, for a place like USA Jobs, maybe getting a job on base somewhere, or even just applying for a work visa and working like a local in some of these countries. Not some of these more impoverished countries, no, that's not realistic. But the money that you need to live in some of those places the bar is quite low. So if you can make any kind of income on a US dollar, you can live very, very well. And that's not going away anytime soon. For some reason, people think that living abroad is just not practical anymore because the world's getting more expensive. Like I said, the US dollar, yes, it's going down in value, but so is the value of pretty much every currency out there. If you have an income in US dollars, your living margins are much higher in another country. When you're in America and you're using US dollar, your margins of expenditures are much lower, right? You have to stay within here. When you're abroad, it's like this. You're fine. You feel safe. You don't even worry about it. Of course, like I said, that's not every country, but a lot of people go into Eastern Europe right now. A lot of people go into South America right now. A lot of people moving to Africa. Southeast Asia is always there. So why not do it now? What is holding you back? I think that we need to take an inventory in our wants, right? Because for most people, your wants are not going to be fulfilled in America anymore unless you're making a considerable amount of money. I'm someone who makes a decent living, if we're being very transparent. But at the same time, I can tell you that living on a much lower wage while being in another country, life is better. I felt so much better. We felt so much freer. We were still able to save quite a bit and not have to worry about everything. We had a kind of freedom that we don't have here because we always have to be on our game here. In America, I've had to monetize every part of my life in order for us to grow here. And that's not something I've had to do while living abroad because I don't like the hustle culture. And you know what? Most people, if they're being honest, they don't like it either. And that's why it's hard once you go live abroad to come back. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my life is coming back to America. And I can't wait to leave. And it's going to be great. And the day I step foot back in Greece, I'm probably never going to leave again. Or at least not come back to the States. If Greece Travel Ministry or whatever, they want to use me as propaganda, hey, I'm all about it. You pay me, I'll come work for you guys. It sounds great. Travel to Greece. But no, it's completely doable. Make your plans and just go. In 2025 and 2026 and beyond, living abroad is still a completely reasonable thing to do. And I would argue it's more reasonable than staying here as things continue to get worse. So yes, start to make your plans, start to get everything together and just get ready to live your life. And I promise you, as always, by making that positive change, by getting out there and actually chasing the kind of life that you want, it isn't an act of selfishness. It's an act of following your purpose, because your purpose is to live a good life. And no one should be able to hold you back from that, not whether it's the government or it's people in your family or people who you consider friends who want you to be stuck and suffer with them. Don't be the last one in a burning boat. Get to a life raft. Right? And that life raft may not be here. It might be in another country, and you can't be afraid to go after it. Go travel. Go to Mexico. It's right there. Because yeah, from America, tickets to like Thailand or the Philippines can be cost prohibitive. But listen, when you plan these things, look 3-4 months ahead when you're looking to buy your tickets. Look at long stay visas. Don't just think about, I'm going to go there for 30 days and see how it is. If you can afford to go to a place for like a year or so, if you have any kind of retirement income, Social Security, VA disability, any of these things, look at long-term visas, because when you get a long-term visa in many countries, that opens up the opportunity for you to actually rent homes that are a fraction of the price as you would be getting something on Airbnb. Airbnb is criminal. It's so expensive. And like, if you're trying to live abroad, you just don't stay at an Airbnb. You want to stay there for a couple days, yes, but get a long stay visa and actually rent a place out. Most places you can do it for just 1 year. That's fine. That's all you need. But it's definitely within the realm of possibility if you just do it. If you have any questions of things that you want to look into when it comes to living abroad, when it comes to maybe escaping America or escaping the West, any fears or horror stories that have kind of pushed you away from chasing that dream, let us know in the comments section. And as always, thank you for all the support. Thank you for stopping by. Like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a good one.